in a struggle as it relates to power dynamics, perhaps at work, maybe in your business, or in another area. Power dynamics is something that many leaders struggle with, whether you are a woman in leadership or a man in leadership. And in this video, I'm going to share with you a few strategies, some insights for you to consider if you're at a place where you're trying to navigate those power dynamics at work. Now, there's a couple things we talked about earlier this morning during the live as it relates to navigating power dynamics. And if you want to learn a little bit more about that, I'll go over some of those insights very briefly. But in this video, I want to go into a bit more detail just for you. So I'm here to support you any way that I can and help you on your journey. Now, if you are new to me, my name is Dr. Jacinta, and if you're watching this portion of the video, you are more than likely watching the replay, whether you are someone who is new to my channel, or maybe you are one of my amazing subscribers. I'm so glad that you're here and took a few moments to spend out of your day with me today. Now, my channel focuses heavily on advanced communication skills and strategies, especially as it relates to being able to speak more confidently and concisely when you're in those very high-pressured, high-stakes situations. Now, this is not your average communication, say this, do that type of channel. This is the channel where you are someone that is in more highly visible roles where the room is watching you and you need to be able to respond in a way that showcases that you are a leader, you have executive presence, and you're able to handle very big situations. If you're at a point in your journey where you know you are going to be in front of people a lot more and you are the person everyone is looking up to as a leader, this is the best channel for you on YouTube. My audience I work with specifically in terms of executive coaching and consultation practices are women in leadership. If you are a woman in leadership and you need to go to that next level in your journey and communicate at a higher level than your peers, then reach out to me for a strategy session in the description below. If you are outside of that audience, perhaps you are a man in leadership. Maybe you are an individual that is not a leader just yet, but you're thinking about it. I guarantee you will learn something out of my live tab here or my recorded videos on the channel to help you on your journey. Now let's talk about power dynamics. There's a couple things that I talked about earlier today, and I do want to preface this really quickly that this is a live video. Therefore, there's typically a point in time where the audience will join the conversation. When they do, give me just a few moments so I can say hello to everyone, and we'll keep going into our discussion. Earlier today, I did a live and I talked about navigating power dynamics also. And I want to share with you just a couple of insights I shared this morning, very, very briefly. If you want to go into more detail on those insights, then you're more than welcome to watch the video. But there's a couple of insights to keep in mind when you're navigating power dynamics in work, in your business, in your leadership roles, or etc. The first is that and I thank you for the heart emojis, friends. The first is that you want to just remember, power dynamics doesn't necessarily have to do something with your title, the title you have. It is more about who are you able to influence. And we're going to talk a bit more about the influencing part of it today. The second insight I want to share with you as it relates to navigating power dynamics that we talked about this morning was making sure that you are in a place where you can actually observe what's going on. Because if you can observe, this is something that will absolutely help you be able to see what is exactly going on. Now, before I go into the third insight that I shared with you all, let me see what's going on in the chat. We have Richard Smith, LL. Welcome, Richard. How are you doing today? Good to see you, friend. Richard Smith says, happy what's left of your Thursday, friend. Exactly. Well, you know what, Richard? Tomorrow is Friday, right? Tomorrow is Friday. So I'm actually very happy that we're ending Thursday, what's left of it, right, Richard? But I'm really happy. I appreciate that. They really needed that laugh today, Richard. Richard Smith says, greetings from Northeast Ohio as well. Absolutely, Richard. High five, friend. Good to see you again. Welcome back. Now, we mentioned earlier about insights and what will help you in terms of navigating those power dynamics. So we already talked about two. The third is make sure you're very strategic in terms of how you communicate, what you say, when you say, how to say it, and etc. So those are very, very brief insights. We talked about that this morning. So if you want to look at the live, you're welcome to do so. Now, what I want to talk about today is answer any question that you all have. So if you have any questions about how do you navigate these power dynamics, how do you position yourself as really the authority or the executive or the leader in the role you're in or in your businesses or etc., then let me know in the comments below, whether you're watching the replay or you're watching live now. Let's talk about the first one. The first was influence. Now, influence is something that is critically important if you're trying to navigate power dynamics. When I mean power dynamics specifically, I'm talking about the changes that you observe when certain people talk. When certain people have something to say, there's a shift in dynamics. Some people want to listen to whoever is speaking, and some people want to completely tune them out. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, being able to understand that power dynamics and managing them as a leader is something that is not always associated with your title. It's the person who has the most influence in the room. Now, how do you become the person that has the most influence in the room? What are your thoughts? What are some things that you are thinking about that make someone very influential or very persuasive to other people? Let me know in the comments below. Appreciate it. Heart emojis. Let's talk about it. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'll share with you a couple insights that I have noticed over the years, but let me know what your thoughts are. Richard Smith says influence is critically important. Yes, Richard, it is. And I have seen how there are people who do not necessarily have the highest titles. They may not have the title of CEO. They may not have the title of VP, but for some reason, they can influence a lot of people. So Richard Smith is correct. It is critically important. And this is something that not only helps you to navigate power dynamics, but it also helps you to become a really good leader and to be able to establish your executive presence and really be that person that stands out from everybody else, which is one of the reasons why I hope you are subscribed to this channel, because my intent here is to make you be that person that stands out from everybody else, because most people struggle with how to communicate under pressure. In this channel, I specifically focus on that and help you to position yourself as a leader. Richard Smith says, Richard Smith the second. Oh, okay. Well, hey, Richard, I appreciate you for mentioning that, because I saw the LL, and of course now I know that it's the II. So thank you, Richard, for letting me know that, and I will make sure I call you the second moving forward. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that. So Richard mentioned that influence is critically important, right? Influence is critically important. It is. Now, how do you gain influence? What are your thoughts? What do you all think? What would you do if you were in a situation where you wanted to influence other people and be that influential person? What would you do? What would you do? Let's talk about it in the comments below. A couple of things that I have found to be very helpful to influence other people are a few strategies. I'm just going to list them just very quickly. One of the most important, most powerful ways you can start to influence people is by listening. Now, we talked about this briefly this morning during the live, but I really want to truly overemphasize and dramatize how incredibly important it is for you to be a good listener to influence. The reason being is that most of the time when you're in those senior level roles or advanced level positions, etc., maybe you're in your business or you're doing something else, many people think they know everything. How many of you have ever been in meetings where people think they know everything? I'll put both my hands up, because I have been in those kind of meetings. But if you've been in a meeting where you have people that think they know everything, they don't listen. Sometimes they don't listen. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they don't, because they're too busy thinking of what's in their head that's so important that everybody else needs to hear. So Richard Smith the second says, I would remain positive, motivating, being a good listener, living clean, having healthy relationships, and etc. So that is fantastic, Richard. Thank you for mentioning that. And those are some really great insights to help someone become more influential. Now, if you're watching the replay or you're watching live, let us know in the comments below, what are some things that you would do if you were put in a room and they said you can be more influential and change the whole direction of this company. What would you do? Richard came up with some really good suggestions there, and we're going to talk about a few of those. So being a good listener is really important. As I mentioned, a lot of times when people are advanced or they are in more senior level roles, they have a hard time listening. And I'm telling you that because I've been in a senior level role. I wasn't necessarily like that, but I have seen a lot of people that have been. Now, if you are the person that is able to listen to people, it helps you in two ways, in two very critically important ways. Well, actually, probably more than that. One, it's going to help you because people are going to want to talk to you. Sometimes, and let me know in the comments below, sometimes you just need somebody to listen to you, right? I mean, we all have been in a situation where things are maybe tough, they may be challenging, and we just need to talk to somebody. We just need to have a conversation with somebody. They don't have to give us advice. They don't have to tell us what to do, but sometimes you just need to have a conversation because you just have a lot going on, especially if you're a woman in leadership, in my direct target audience, or you're a man in leadership as well. It happens. So making sure you have someone to talk to is really important. Therefore, when someone comes to you and they may be in a very frustrated or critical state, or they're stressed out or highly emotional, coming to you as the forming or developing influencer is critically important, because that person feels a certain level of trust with you, and that is how you start to build influence. Trust is a huge part of it. Now, going into trust, as I mentioned, you have to be a good listener. People need to feel like there are other people that are listening to them and care about what they have going on. Second is you are actually able to pick up on the situations, the scenarios, the challenges that other people probably don't have the access to. Why? Because this person feels like you're listening to them and they feel like they can confide in you. Also, this is how you gain influence. Influence comes from being that person that knows a lot about everything. And I know in many of the roles I've had, I have been that person that knows a lot about everything, even if it's something or a department not even related to mine, or someone that is not even at, or maybe they're working in a different area, etc. And I appreciate the 100s. You have to be that person that people feel like they can trust and they can talk to. That's a great way to build influence. And as Richard mentioned, having those very healthy relationships and being positive is really important also. Richard also says, your soft and soothing voice definitely helps me be a great listener, and I give you my undivided attention. Well, thank you, Richard Smith II. I appreciate that. Believe it or not, my voice was not cooperating earlier today. I did a lot of speaking yesterday, so I have a bit of my voice back today. So hopefully it's a lot better than what it was. So I appreciate that, Richard. So we talked about listening. Listening is really important. The reasons why it's important, because you know what you're going to find out what's going on. And you're going to be the person people can trust and confide into. And if you know what's going on, then you can make your deductions in terms of what might be the best next step for you professionally, or what may be the best person you need to speak to about an issue. Because I've been in situations, and let me know if you've all been in situations like this also. I've been in situations where I've had to negotiate someone's salary. And when I'm trying to negotiate a salary on behalf of someone else, personally, what I did, I always went over with what they wanted to get in terms of their salary. I was that kind of boss. That's just what I did. I really wanted to help people. There's a few of us out there like that. Not a lot, but there's a few. And in order for me to negotiate someone's salary, I had to find out, and this is just a good example of influence. I had to find out, and I've done it so many times. I'm trying to think of how many times I've done it. It's so many. I had to find out who is the individual that is going to help me make this salary negotiation take place. Now, I did it a little bit differently. I'm going to give you a secret in terms of how I negotiate salaries and how I start to gain influence. And this is what I'm sharing with you over 20 years worth of experience as a C-suite executive, a director, a manager, a public speaker, all the things I've shared with you before. I like to find out who is the main decision maker. For example, if I know boss A is the boss of the company, If I'm trying to negotiate a salary for somebody I actually care about and I know they're doing very well, but they're just not being paid correctly, I don't go straight to boss A. Boss A makes the decisions, right? Boss A is the boss, okay? Boss A is the one that's going to say, yes, this person can get an increase in their salary, or no, they can't. I don't do that. Who is boss A going to listen to as it relates to salaries? So what I would do is I would have a conversation with someone from, let's say, human resources. They'll let me give you a strategy. I can't just have a conversation with somebody from human resources and say, hey, by the way, my employee Y needs to get an increase in their salary. Can you help them? No, you don't. It doesn't work that way. You have to build influence and you have to build good credit, just like you're building your credit history with other people first before you try to negotiate someone's salary. So I would always have a very good relationship with human resources. Why? Human resources is going to be the department that is really, really the one that's going to make those decisions. They're going to be the ones, and I appreciate the 100s, that know what everybody's being paid. And they're going to be able to give you insight in terms of, yes, you should get this person paid. Think we can get him at this level, or maybe no, we can't. And if you have a good relationship with them, talk to them, share what's going on, share your successes, and etc., and talk to them and say, I'm really thinking about having employee Y be able to get an increase in their salary. What are your thoughts about that? Do you think I'll be able to get this worked with boss A? And they will give you honest insight. And they'll say, yeah, I think you might be able to, or there's some issues going on with the budget. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. So when I hear issues going on with the budget, guess who my next stop is? So my next stop is to boss B. Boss B is going to be the finance boss. So have a conversation with the finance boss. They're the money people. They have some idea in terms of, okay, maybe we have this or not. See, I hope I'm sharing with you how you can start building influence. It's not always the direct person you need to go to. Sometimes it's the people around those individuals that you need to go to first. So when you have that time and you're able to meet with boss A, you have gotten data from various individuals, compiled them together to present your argument as to why employee Y needs to get an increase on their salary. Back to my story. I would go to boss B. Boss B is the finance boss, and say, boss B, how are things going on the budget right now? Talk to boss B. Boss B says, oh, well, things are going okay, or it's a little bit tight right now. It's something I don't want to necessarily go into. And I could say, boss B, I'm really thinking about this employee Y. Employee Y, you've seen it, right? You've seen it. Employee Y has been doing a wonderful job. They've been going over, above, and beyond. And I really would like to see, is there any way we could potentially increase their salary by X amount, possibly? And boss B may say, I don't know. We have to really look at the budget for that. I'm not quite sure. This is what we have right now. And I would say, okay, that sounds good, but let me know what you come up with. And it may be something, leaders, that you have to wait on. Just because you are planning or planting seeds now, that doesn't mean that you have to act on them or it happens immediately. So you don't want to promise somebody something that you can't deliver. You want to be that person that works on the back end, works in silence to make things happen. And when they happen, it's like, boom, wow, everybody got a raise. And this is just what I did. But you may have to put it in the back of your mind and say, this is something I'm going to have to work on at another point in time. The budget is tight right now. Once the budget is reviewed and assessed and etc., then I would go back around to my conversations. I would go to human resources, talk about how great employee Y has been, and then I would go back over to boss B and say, boss B, how are things going on the budget? Where are we at right now? Boss B may say, you know what, we're in a good place. If they keep doing this, we can probably increase their salary, but you're going to have to talk to boss A about it. Okay, I have all my data together and I talk to boss A. Now, one of the things I normally would do when I'm in that waiting period, and I know this is a bit different than specific power dynamics, but I want to share with you in real time. These are the things that I did. I literally did these things to be able to navigate those power dynamics and be more influential in all the roles I'm in. During this waiting period, when I know I'm not quite ready to talk to boss A about employee Y, then I would say, okay, boss A, employee Y has been doing an amazing job. They've been doing this, they've been doing that. And I would not necessarily ask for a salary increase just yet. I would just talk about how great they're doing, just so they have it in the back of their mind. Let me see what's in the chat. Richard Smith II says, peace and love to you and yours. Well, thank you, Richard. I appreciate that. I would just plant those seeds with boss A. Employee Y has been doing a great job. They're doing fantastic and etc. And then when the time comes, when the time is right, I would have that conversation. Boss A, this boss A, employee Y needs to raise. And they may say why they need to raise. They've been doing this, and this. And then boss A is probably going to say, well, Let me think about it. Let me let me see what the salaries are with everybody. Let me see if we have room in the budget, and I'll get back with you. Keep in mind, I have already had conversations with human resources and boss B of finance, so that when boss A goes to talk to them and says, Dr. Jacinta wants to try to get this person a raise, they'll say, oh yeah, that sounds really good. I think we're in a good position to do that. And then guess what? Your employee, your team member is going to get a raise. This is how you gain influence. It is not about your title. Sometimes your title impacts, okay? In my case, I was a C-suite executive, C-suite to C-suite, I could have those conversations, or director to director, I had those conversations, or manager to manager, I had those conversations. It's been in many of the roles I've had. So sometimes it helps, but ultimately it comes down to how you are able to influence other people. And a lot of it has to do with listening. If you're able to listen to what someone's talking about and you find out what their pain points are, then you can be able to still be supportive, but use that information as leverage when you need it. That doesn't mean you're being manipulative. You're trying to help people. And if you find that this person is struggling with X and you have a solution to X, then this is something that you do. This is how you become influential. You bring people together and address everyone's issues in a way that makes sense so that everyone is happy. Now, I want to know from you. Richard came up with some really great suggestions in terms of what Richard would do to maintain influence or start to develop it. What else do you all recommend? What are some things you've done? This is what I have focused on. Also, listening has been a really very, very big part of me developing influence. And if you're a woman in leadership and you're struggling with your influence, or you're noticing your influence is starting to fade a bit, then contact me for a strategy session in the description below. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how you can regain your influence back and what strategically you may need to do that. Now, I've shared with you influence in terms of how can you gain influence, especially in power dynamics. It is critically important to do that because a lot of times there's many conversations that happen behind the scenes that you may not know that occur, that present themselves, or maybe they don't present themselves when you're in those very public situations, those more highly visible situations, and you notice it and you say, okay, it seems like there's already been some discussion about this. And now you see how it happens. Many people ask me, how does this happen? How do people have these conversations, etc.? I'm sharing with you exactly what happens in the wonderful world of leadership, especially at the senior leadership level. There's always conversations that are going on. You just want to make sure you're on the good end of the conversation and you are navigating those power dynamics as best as you can. Now, I want to know from you, what are some things that you're going to do now to help you be able to navigate power dynamics as a woman in leadership, or maybe you're a man in leadership? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this information, this is a fantastic time for you to give this video a thumbs up. It does allow it to reach more people in the world of YouTube. And if this is something or a topic that you find to be very interesting and maybe you're struggling with it, then you're always welcome to subscribe to the channel and let me know how I can support you. For those of you joining, welcome, welcome. We just talked about power dynamics and I just gave everyone a masterclass in terms of how you develop influence as a leader. So much so that I may end up changing the title of this video for that, because I shared with you, thank you for the heart emojis, I shared with you how you do it. Millie Arans, I want to say hello. Welcome, Millie. How you doing? Welcome back, friend. Millie says, I'm back with a couple of Ks. Welcome back. But I just gave you some insight in terms of how to become more influential. And I believe I'm going to change the title of this video just for that, because I have not dived into how to be more influential as it relates to you being able to impact people and make a difference and do all of those wonderful things in your different roles and etc. So I've shared with you that. If you're new to the channel, this is what I talk about all the time. And I give you a lot of insights as it relates to how to communicate in those very complex situations, hard to navigate situations. Just feel free to reach out to me and let me know how things are going for you, how I can support you on your journey to get you to that next level. You don't have to go through this alone. Let me see this in chat. So Tony Invan378. Hello, Tony. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. Tony says, let's see, you're sad you didn't give me a text. I believe I messaged you back. If I did not send the second one, I apologize, but I believe I did send something. But if I did not, I may not have clicked send on it, but welcome back. Good to see you. Now, as I mentioned, there's a lot of things that happen specifically in these very complex situations. And if you like this, definitely want to take a look at a couple videos on my live tab. There's one that talks about thinking on your feet. Any video that says thinking on your feet is something you absolutely want to watch if you're trying to navigate those very complex situations. Controlling your body language, managing your facial expressions, managing difficult conversations, your eye contact, your tone of voice. Those are all very good live videos that give you a good foundation in terms of how you can navigate the more complex or more challenging situations that come up for you as a leader. I hope this helps you all on your journey. Tomorrow we'll be doing some questions and answers. I'll figure out a couple of topics. But if there's anything specifically that you need support on as it relates to professional development, especially communicating at a higher level and developing yourself as an absolute amazing leader, then let me know in the comments below on any video. I will give you some insight to help you on your journey. I'm here to help you any way that I can. And I appreciate you. Everyone that is a part of my audience and a part of my subscribers, I appreciate you all being here. And I'm here to support you any way that I can. So I will see you all in the next video. And I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, or afternoon, depending on what time of the world it is in your part of the region. I hope you have a great day. Bye for now.